Relentless, From Good to Great to Unstoppable by Tim S. Grover. Picture this. It's the middle of the NBA playoffs, and an entire city's dreams are riding on one superstar. But the night before, millions watched him limp off the court, pain written all over his face. The media goes wild. Can he even play? At the press conference, everyone says he's fine. The player, the coach, the whole organization, they're all saying the same thing. But here's what nobody knows. Later that night, alone in a hotel room 2,000 miles from home, he makes one secret phone call. A private jet gets chartered. He slips away from his team, the press, his family, flying across the country in total darkness. He's not going for medical treatment. The team doctors could handle that. No, he's flying all this way because something more dangerous has crept in. The pressure, the doubt, the endless noise from everyone around him, it's gotten into his head. He's starting to overthink everything, and for an athlete at the top of his game, overthinking is the kiss of death. He lands in Chicago, walks into a private training facility, and meets the one person he trusts to fix this mental mess. The man listens to the storm brewing in the champion's mind and gives him the only advice that matters, the advice he flew 2,000 miles to hear. Just 2 words. Don't think. That man is Tim S. Grover, and for over 20 years he's been the secret weapon behind legends like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade. He's the master of mental toughness, the architect of the unstoppable mindset. His book, Relentless, isn't another feel-good motivational guide. It's a raw, unfiltered look behind the curtain, a blueprint for a level of intensity so rare, most people don't even believe it's real. This isn't about becoming good, or even great. This is about becoming unstoppable. And I promise, by the time we're done today, you'll understand the profound difference between the three. You'll discover a hidden power source you already have, what Grover calls your dark side, and why it's the key to unlocking everything you're capable of. You're about to learn the secrets of those who operate beyond success, in a realm where there are no limits, no finish lines, and no such thing as good enough. Ever wonder what truly separates the good from the great? And then, what separates the great from the legends? Those rare individuals who seem to exist on a completely different level. Tim Grover has spent his entire career not just wondering, but observing and building these very people. Through his work, he discovered something fascinating. In any field, sports, business, art, there are 3 distinct types of competitors. Understanding them is your first step toward understanding what it really means to be relentless. He calls them coolers, closers, and cleaners. Think of a cooler as someone who's good at what they do. They're reliable, they follow instructions, they stick to the plan. When things get too intense, they look for someone else to handle the heat. They're the setup person, keeping things stable until the real star arrives. Nothing wrong with being a cooler. Most of the world is made up of them. They're the foundation. Then you have the closer. This person is great. They handle pressure well and get the job done when you put them in the right situation. They study the competition, anticipate what might happen, and love getting credit when they succeed. They show up in the clutch when everything's on the line, and they deliver. But then there's another level, a level so high, so intense, that very few ever reach it. This is the realm of the cleaner. A cleaner is unstoppable. They don't just handle pressure, they feed off it. They don't wait for someone to give them a plan. They are the plan. A cleaner doesn't think about what to do. They just know. They walk into chaos and, without saying a word, take complete control. They don't just finish the job. They own the entire situation from beginning to end. A cooler can have an amazing game, a closer can have an amazing season, but a cleaner? A cleaner has an amazing career. Michael Jordan was a cleaner. Kobe Bryant was a cleaner. And Grover's entire philosophy is about unlocking the cleaner he believes exists inside anyone who's truly hungry for more. This isn't about motivation. If you're here listening to this, you're already motivated. This is about turning that motivation into something raw, powerful, and instinctual. So what does it take? What's the mindset of a cleaner? It starts with the simple, radical idea. You have to stop listening to what the world says and start listening to the person you were before the world told you who to be. The power of don't think. Grover says we're all born relentless. Think about a baby. Babies don't analyze their needs. They don't wonder if it's a good time to ask for food. They feel hunger, and they scream until they get what they want. Pure, raw instinct. Completely relentless. Then we're taught to be good. We're taught to be quiet, wait our turn, follow the rules, think before we act. We take all that powerful natural instinct and learn to suppress it. We put the lion in a cage. But here's the thing. The lion is still there. That core of who you are, that raw, untamed force is still inside you, waiting. The first step to becoming a cleaner is reconnecting with that instinct. Learning to don't think. Thinking gets you into trouble. It introduces doubt, fear, hesitation. It pulls you out of the moment and into a maze of what-ifs. A cleaner doesn't get lost in that maze. They operate from what Grover calls the zone. The zone isn't some mystical, happy place. It's a state of deep, calm focus where everything else fades away. There are no emotions in the zone, because emotions make you weak. There's only a quiet, icy determination, a controlled fire fueling your actions. When you're in the zone, you're not thinking about the last play or the next one. You're not worried about what people will say. It's just you, your instincts, and the task at hand. You move with purpose, no wasted motion. You just know. Michael Jordan lived in the zone. Grover tells this incredible story about a game where the Bulls were getting destroyed. By the fourth quarter, Michael had only scored 10 points. Then a player on the other team, Derek Martin, made a fatal mistake. He started trash-talking Michael. Michael didn't get angry. He didn't yell. He just stopped, looked at the guy, shook his head, and said, "Let a sleeping dog lie." In that moment, something shifted. The sleeping dog woke up. He went into attack mode, scoring 19 points in the final minutes and winning the game, while Derek Martin watched from the bench. That wasn't an emotional outburst. That was a cleaner, deep in his zone, using his opponent's mistake as fuel. But how do you reach this powerful state? How do you fuel that fire? This brings us to one of the most provocative and important ideas in Relentless. You have to embrace the one part of you that society tells you to hide. Your dark side is your greatest gift. Grover makes a startling claim. You cannot be great without a dark side. Now, this isn't about being evil or doing bad things. The dark side is the part of you that refuses to be ordinary. It's the raw, untamed piece of you that stays hungry, that craves things you might not talk about openly. Success, power, victory. It's your inner Mr. Hyde to your Dr. Jekyll. It's the part of you that isn't concerned with being liked, only with winning. Every truly relentless person Grover has ever known, without exception, has a powerful dark side. It's their fuel. It's what drives them to get up at 5 in the morning when everyone else is sleeping. It's what makes them take big risks others are terrified of. The dark side whispers, "Go," when you're standing on the edge of your comfort zone. A cooler tries to fight their dark side and loses. A closer acknowledges it but can't control it. But a cleaner? A cleaner harnesses their dark side and turns it into raw, controlled power. The key is control. The dark side can become an addiction to success, to the thrill of the challenge, to the rush of winning. It's a hunger that's never satisfied. As soon as a cleaner achieves a goal, the rush fades, and the craving for more begins. This is why they never celebrate for long. While everyone else is at the victory party, the cleaner is already thinking about the next challenge. The moment is over. The thought is always, done. Next. This addiction can be dangerous if it's not managed. The dark side can push you to take risks in your personal life, but a true cleaner is always in charge. They control the addiction. It doesn't control them. They know when to use that intense energy and when to pull back. Think about Tiger Woods. Before his scandal, he was the ultimate cleaner on the golf course. He had this intimidating aura that made competitors crumble, that came from his dark side. But when his private life became public, that power evaporated because it was exposed without defiance. Grover argues that if he'd owned it, if he'd refused to apologize and just shown up ready to dominate, he could have maintained that power. Like his friend Charles Barkley, who, after getting into a bar fight, told the judge his only regret was not throwing the guy from a higher window. No apologies. That's a cleaner protecting his dark side. This relentless drive, fueled by the dark side, creates a very specific relationship with pressure, work, and failure. Crave the pressure, do the work, and never fail. For most people, pressure is something to avoid. It causes stress and anxiety. But for a cleaner, pressure is a privilege. They don't run from it. They run toward it. Pressure tells you something important is on the line. It keeps you sharp. Grover dismisses the idea of a clutch gene that magically appears in big moments. A cleaner is always clutch, because for them, every moment is a pressure situation. Being relentless isn't about the last minute. It's about every minute. They intentionally create pressure for themselves to prove what they're capable of. This mindset isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark, lonely hours of preparation. It's built by doing the work. And here's a critical secret from the book. Cleaners don't have to love the work, but they're addicted to the results. This flies in the face of all the typical follow your passion advice. A cleaner understands that the work is often grueling, tedious, and painful, but they crave the results so intensely that the work becomes irrelevant. This is why Grover's training philosophy is so simple and brutal. Show up, work hard, and listen. He tells his athletes, every day, you have to do something you don't want to do. This is how you get comfortable being uncomfortable. When your body is screaming no, your mind has to be strong enough to say yes. You control your body. It doesn't control you. When you embrace pressure and commit to the work, your relationship with failure changes completely. In fact, for a cleaner, there's no such thing as failure. What most people call failure, a cleaner sees as a situation that needs managing. It's an opportunity to find another way to get what they want. If one path is blocked, they instinctively look for another. It's never over until they say it's over. Grover uses Michael Jordan's first failure as the perfect example. After winning 3 championships, he retired to play baseball. The world said he failed. Then he returned to basketball and lost in the playoffs to the Orlando Magic. The world screamed, "He's finished, he failed." Michael's response? He sat in the darkened arena after that loss and let it fuel him. But he also told the Magic players to enjoy the win, because it wasn't going to happen again. He didn't see failure. He saw what needed fixing. The next season, he led the Bulls to a record-breaking 72 wins and the first of 3 more championships. He didn't fail. He learned, adapted, and came back stronger. That's the cleaner's way. This mindset, this relentless drive, also dictates how a cleaner interacts with the world around them. They don't play by the same social rules as everyone else. The cleaner's code: fear, trust, and dominance. A cooler wants to be liked. A closer wants to be respected. A cleaner would rather be feared. Fear, in this context, isn't about being a bully. It's about commanding so much respect for your skill, preparation, and mental toughness that your opponents are defeated before the game even begins. It's quiet intimidation. The loudest person in the room is usually the one with the most to prove. A cleaner doesn't need to announce their presence. You feel it when they walk in. Grover tells this amazing story about how Michael Jordan would sometimes walk into the opponent's locker room before a big playoff game pretending to say hello to a friend. The entire room would fall silent, every eye on him. He'd stay for less than a minute and then leave. But the damage was done. For the rest of the night, those players weren't thinking about their game plan. They were thinking about Michael Jordan. He'd gotten into their heads without saying a single threatening word. He made them fear him. This demand for excellence extends to everyone around them. A cleaner's motto is simple: get on my level or get out of my way. They don't lower their standards to make others comfortable. They force others to rise to their level. Michael was famously hard on his teammates, pushing, demanding, challenging them every single day in practice. Not because he was mean, but because his only goal was to win, and he needed them ready for battle. He knew that if he put the pressure on them, they'd be better, and the team would be better. And it worked. Every one of his teammates played their best basketball alongside him, and many saw their careers decline after leaving his orbit. He made everyone around him better, not for their sake, but for his. Because of this intense, singular focus, a cleaner trusts very few people. Their inner circle is small and carefully chosen. To a cleaner, trusting someone means giving up control, and that's the hardest thing for them to do. When they do let someone in, that person is chosen for a specific purpose, and that trust is absolute until it's broken. A cleaner never forgives, and they never forget. If you're lucky enough to be in that circle, your job is to tell the truth, especially when it's hard. Cleaners are surrounded by people who tell them how great they are. The most valuable person is the one who can look them in the eye and tell them what they're doing wrong. They might hate you for it in the moment, but they'll respect you for it, because you're not afraid. Finally, a cleaner doesn't just make suggestions, they make decisions. They don't get stuck debating whether the glass is half full or half empty. They see what's in the glass and decide what to do with it. Either add more or pour it out and start over. They trust their gut. They act. While others are paralyzed by analysis, the cleaner has already moved on. The mantra is simple: decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat. This whole philosophy, this entire way of being, culminates in the final, defining trait of a cleaner. It's what makes them seem almost inhuman at times. It's the reason they can achieve the impossible. They don't celebrate their achievements because they always want more. For a cleaner, the celebration feels hollow. The joy of victory is fleeting. As soon as they reach the summit, they're already looking for a higher mountain to climb. The satisfaction isn't in the trophy or the parade. It's in that brief, private moment of knowing they conquered the challenge. And then, almost immediately, comes the quiet melancholy of victory, the realization that it's over, and the work has to begin all over again. Grover remembers being with Michael Jordan in the locker room right after winning a championship, champagne spraying everywhere, music blasting, the world celebrating, and Michael was already talking to him about what they needed to work on for next season. That is the essence of being relentless. It's a constant, burning desire for more. It's an addiction to the result that can never be fully satisfied. It's the understanding that there is no finish line. There is only done and next. When you first encounter relentless, it can feel like getting hit with a cold bucket of water. In a world that constantly preaches balance, collaboration, and the importance of being liked, Tim Grover's philosophy feels like it's from another dimension. It's raw, uncompromising, and unapologetic. And that's precisely what makes it so powerful. The most profound lesson from this book isn't about working yourself to death or becoming ruthless. It's about honesty. Being brutally honest with yourself about what you truly want and what you're willing to sacrifice to get it. Most of us say we want success, but we aren't willing to endure the discomfort that comes with it. We want the result without the work, the victory without the battle. Grover forces us to confront that gap between our desires and our actions. The concept of the cleaner is a powerful metaphor for that highest level of commitment. It's a reminder that true excellence isn't a part-time hobby. It's an all-consuming focus. The idea that you should crave the pressure is a complete mindset shift. We're taught to manage stress, to seek calm. Grover suggests that stress is the very thing that brings us to life, that challenges force us to grow in ways we never imagined possible. Perhaps the most liberating idea is embracing the dark side. It gives us permission to acknowledge the hungry, ambitious, untamed part of ourselves that we're often taught to suppress. It's not about letting your worst impulses run wild. It's about understanding that your greatest drive often comes from that deep, primal place, and learning to harness it as incredible energy. It's the fire that keeps you going when motivation fades. This book isn't for everyone. Its message can be jarring. But if you've ever felt there's another gear inside you that you haven't found yet, if you're tired of being good enough, then Relentless is essential reading. It provides a language and framework for a level of intensity that can transform every area of your life. So how can you start applying these ideas today, right now? Here are 3 simple actions. First, find your don't think trigger. Identify one activity in your life, maybe a sport, playing an instrument, or even just driving, where you feel completely in the zone, where you act on pure instinct. Pay attention to what that feels like. This week, try bringing that same feeling of non-thinking, pure action, into one small, new task. Don't analyze it, just do it. Second, do the uncomfortable thing first. For the next 7 days, when you look at your to-do list, identify the one thing you're dreading most. The thing you keep pushing off. Do that thing first. Don't give yourself time to procrastinate or talk yourself out of it. This builds the muscle of being comfortable with discomfort, which is the foundation of all relentless effort. Third, make one clean decision. Think of one small decision you've been hesitating on. Should you sign up for that class? Should you have that difficult conversation? Stop asking for opinions. Stop weighing pros and cons. Just trust your gut and make a choice. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to practice being decisive. Decide, and then move on. That was our deep dive into Relentless by Tim S. Grover. We've explored the core ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only show you the map. The real journey happens when you decide to walk the path yourself. The true power of this book isn't just in the concepts. It's in the way Grover's raw, unfiltered voice gets into your head and challenges you to demand more from yourself. This summary is your invitation to see if this path is for you. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a fire in you, grab a copy. Reading it isn't just learning. It's an experience that can fundamentally change how you see your own potential. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you a new perspective, please show some support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.